What if everything we believed all along was only half the truth? Imagine an artist who was always thought to be manufactured by an agency, but was secretly the backbone of that entire empire. That name is Wang Yibo, and his story is far deeper, bolder, and more surprising than we ever imagined. For years, the public saw him as a talented young star under the auspices of Yuehua Entertainment. Many believed that without that powerful agency, his career wouldn't have shone as brightly as it did. But slowly, that narrative began to crack, and through the cracks, a truth emerged that changed everything. What really happened behind the scenes of China's entertainment industry? Was Wang Yibo truly just a product of the system, or was he a key player who had been moving the wheel unnoticed? When the numbers began to emerge, the entertainment world was shaken. Internal reports and industry speculation indicated that Wang Yibo's contribution to Yuehua's revenue was no small feat. Some even said to be as high as 60%. A figure that wasn't just huge, but almost unimaginable for a single individual. Imagine that. One name, one figure, supporting more than half of the financial power of a giant entertainment company. This is where perspectives began to shift. Major films like Hidden Blade and Born to Fly were no longer just successful projects. They were proof that Wang Yibo was more than just an actor playing a role. He was a magnet, attracting attention, investment, and profits on a massive scale. Every project he touched seemed to have a life of its own. His popularity wasn't just a trend, but a real economic force. And it wasn't about fame anymore, it was about influence. However, the real turning point came in March 2026, a move that initially seemed simple, but actually shook up the power structure behind the scenes. Wang Yibo officially became a shareholder of Yuehua Entertainment. To some, this might have been merely symbolic, an artist being rewarded for his contributions. But to those who understood the dynamics of the industry, it was a major shift. It was the moment when the lines between talent and power began to blur. He was no longer just the face of the brand. He was now part of the structure that controlled the direction of the company itself. The market didn't stand still. The reaction was swift and decisive. The stock price surged, as if investors realized this was no ordinary decision. It was a signal that Wang Yibo wasn't just an asset but a foundation. On the other hand, reactions from industry peers also attracted attention. Zhan's name was mentioned in various public discussions and speculations. Many wondered how other top actors viewed this change. Was this the beginning of a new era, where artists were no longer simply controlled, but were beginning to take control? Wang Yibo's own journey had actually been leading to this point for a long time. From the beginning, he was known for his discipline, focus, and vision, a rare trait among artists his age. He didn't just work hard, he worked with direction. From music to acting to professional motorcycle racing, every step he took demonstrated one thing. He didn't want mere success, he wanted sovereignty. And perhaps this is what the public had missed. That behind his cool and composed image, there was a well-thought-out strategy. There was calculation. There was an unspoken ambition, but it was consistently executed. When someone like Wang Yibo starts owning shares in the company that once protected him, the relationship changes fundamentally. It's no longer about an employment contract, it's about ownership. And ownership means power. Now the question is no longer how much has Yuehua shaped Wang Yibo, but how much has Wang Yibo shaped Yuehua? The entertainment world is witnessing something rare, a transformation from within. An artist not only rising to the top, but also changing the structure of the mountain itself. Will this become a new trend? Will more artists follow suit and take full control of their careers? Or is this a unique story that can only be told by one name, Wang Yibo? One thing is clear, however, and undeniable. The once hidden truth is now beginning to emerge. And when all the pieces finally fall into place, we may have to admit the most surprising thing of all. Perhaps it wasn't Yuehua that created Wang Yibo all along. It was Wang Yibo who created Yuehua. But the story isn't over yet. In fact, after the announcement, a new wave of questions began to emerge from various corners of the industry. Many began retracing Wang Yibo's journey from the beginning, trying to find the point where everything began to change. the point where an artist slowly transformed into an irreplaceable force. Looking back, a pattern began to emerge. Every decision he made seemed like part of a long-term strategy. He didn't rush into every project, but instead chose with precision. Every film, every appearance, every step in his career seemed designed to build a solid foundation, not just a fleeting moment of popularity. Some observers even began to call him the silent architect of the modern entertainment industry. Not because he talks a lot, but because his work speaks louder than anything else. In a world often dominated by sensationalism and controversy, Wang Yibo has built his influence through consistency. Interestingly, this shift has also affected the way fans view their idols. Where once they only saw the figures they admired on screen, they are now beginning to realize that there is another dimension, one where artists have control, vision, and even the power to shape the industry itself. And this is where true power lies. It's not just in numbers or stock, but in perception. When the public begins to see an artist as a leader, not just an entertainer, that position becomes much more powerful and difficult to replace. Some analysts even predict that Wang Yibo's move could be the starting point for a systemic shift in the Chinese entertainment industry. Agencies may no longer hold complete control, as top talents begin to realize their true value. But of course, this path isn't without risks. The greater the influence, the greater the pressure. Every decision now impacts not only his personal career, but also that of the company, investors, and even the direction of the industry as a whole. The question now is, how will Wang Yibo wield this newfound power? Will he stay the same, or will he start taking bolder and more revolutionary steps? One thing is for sure, the world is watching. And for the first time, the spotlight isn't just on what he does in front of the camera, but on what he's building behind the scenes. Amidst all the attention, Wang Yibo maintains the same demeanor as ever, calm, focused, and almost silent. No grand declarations, no overblown claims. That, in fact, lies his strength. He lets his actions speak for themselves, as if to say that true change doesn't need to be announced loudly. Some are beginning to realize that perhaps this is why he's come this far. While others were chasing the spotlight, he was building a foundation. While others were busy defending their positions, he was quietly expanding his influence. And when things finally became clear, he was already several steps ahead. This phenomenon has also raised a new curiosity. Is this the culmination of Wang Yibo's journey, or the beginning of a much bigger chapter? Because if he's been able to transform his position from artist to control, the possibilities for what's next seem limitless. Perhaps, in the future, we'll see him not just as an actor or performer, but as a figure shaping the direction of the industry, creating opportunities for a new generation, and even changing the way the world views the relationship between artists and agencies. And in the end, this story leaves one question hanging. If one person can change the system from within, then how many other Wang Yibos are currently still behind the scenes, waiting for their own time to reveal the truth?